Hello, today I am going to make a cover for a journal. This is a clear plastic cover, so I'm going to talk about the supplies. I have the journal that I want to cover. This is actually purchased from Tangi Baxter's website, Art Journaling the Magic, and I will link that below the video. I need my glasses, clear tape. Now I use the super clear Scotch masking tape. There's the regular and then there's the extra clear one. This is the extra clear one, a bone folder, and a sharp pair of scissors, and then this is the plastic I use. I purchased it. I'll try and find you the link for this also. It comes in a huge roll. It's really big. It doesn't fit on my screen altogether. It comes in a big roll. It is actually clear, so I'm hoping this will come through in the video. This is just the paper in between so it doesn't stick together. I order it online, but I started getting it going into Joann's at first. But now, because of our current health situation, I definitely just go online and order it. They have several pieces of plastic there. The one I order, they're all color-coded. It's the teal to the slightly green, and that's the thickness. So what I'm gonna do first is pull out my glasses, and because it's nice to be able to see what I'm doing, and go ahead and get going. I am going to try and move this and stay within our camera. It's a slightly trickier one to film. So I'm pulling off the rubber band, so that's what keeps my fabric on here nicely, my plastic fabric. And I'm going to unroll enough. Now, what I do is I lay the book on, and I'm gonna give myself about, I never measure. I'm just gonna go with about 2 inches below and 2 inches above and attempt to cut a straight line. It doesn't matter too much. I'm just going for a straight line. I secured my rubber band back on there, and now I'm gonna show you how I measure this. Now, I don't actually do any actual measurements. So I lay my book here, I open it up, and I turn. Normally I pull this paper out right away, but I'm gonna keep that in here because I think it makes it a little easier for you to see. So I measure to about there, trying to give myself a little extra plastic. So I folded my plastic inside. Then I'm gonna do the same thing with the other side. So I'm gonna take my book and if this were clear and I had pulled out the white part, you would be able to see my book underneath. And then I come and I cut this. I'm gonna give myself a little extra this time and just cut along here. And I usually end up doing a retrim. So this is extra. I never get rid of it. I always find something little to make out of this. Just roll it up on the side and sneak it away for later. Okay, so now I have this clear plastic book. I'm gonna see if I can zoom out a little bit so you can see better what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm pretty much done with the scissors for a few minutes, so I'm gonna cap my sharp scissors back up. Okay. And let's see. So the next part of what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this book off, set my book to the side. Now we're gonna move straight to just the plastic. This is just throwaway. You can use it. I often will just save mine and use it as packing material, but it's recyclable. So the next part I'm gonna do is I'm going to fold this bottom edge. And this is where I am attempting to have a straight line. The line I'm looking for is this bottom one right here, okay? So I know that my cuts are never perfect, so this cut line inside, can you see that? This cut line inside will probably be uneven, but I'm going to attempt to get this exterior folded line even. And I'm looking at about an inch. Now I'm taking my bone folder and I'm smearing or mashing that seam down and really getting that seam in there. Okay, so this is a nice tight seam on this bottom line that is fairly straight. Now, if you want to go back in and trim this line, you can. I'll be honest, I've never done that. I just let it be. Then what I do is I take my clear tape and I tape this seam down so that my book doesn't catch on it. And this is why I use the extra clear tape. I let it overlap, that's okay. So you probably can barely see what I'm doing. I'm taking this super clear tape and putting the super clear tape down on the clear cover. And I'll go ahead and just do that all the way from tip to tip, following this inside line, taping this little edge down. Now I'm ready to bring my book back. I open it up, I'm gone to the back cover. You could do your front cover first too, it doesn't really matter. Now I'm holding this book and I'm laying it flat. And I'm letting this bottom edge right here be maybe 1/8 of an inch. So the clear part extends about 1/8 of an inch past the book line, just the tiniest bit. And what's gonna happen is I'm going to bend this piece of plastic and seam it around the book so my two pieces of plastic match up down here. This is the line I'm worried about. And then I'll mash this up here to get my fold to make sense so that I don't have too much extra plastic. I find holding the book like this up with the back part flat is easiest. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take tape and I'm gonna tape around this edge and tape this together. And I'm gonna pay special attention, and right here and here, I'm gonna at least double, if not triple tape, because these are my edges here and here that are going to get the most touch and the most wear. Now, usually when I do this, I pull this to the edge of the table and I go off the edge of the table. But with my video camera, that's not so easy. Okay, so I've mashed that together. I have just a little bit of an edge beyond my book right here. I'm gonna go ahead and tape that quickly. Okay, all I've done is put tape all across right here. So you can see in the light, there's little bits of tape right there. Oh, and I see I missed a spot. Just add a little extra tape, just like that. Okay, then I'm gonna close the book and wrap this back around. Okay, so I'm trying to make sure that this bottom lines up with the plastic just like I did on the back seam. And without fail, one side is always a little bit shorter. So see how the other one went to here, this one went to here, that's okay. If you didn't want this to happen, you could cut yourself even a little more extra. I'm fine with it. I'm just worried about it protecting the outside. So, as you can see, my book has slid a little, so I'm mashing it down and trying to make that edge meet up properly. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take tape and tape that around the book. So I'm not getting tape on the book, I'm just taping these two edges of plastic together. And again, I'm gonna put double tape on this edge and double tape on this inner edge. Okay, so I've got all tape from here to here with no gaps. I'm gonna stand my book up, mesh it down. Make sure that book is firmly at the bottom of the plastic, okay? Then I've got this extra sleeve left up here. Like this. I'm gonna take my handy scissors and I'm just going to very carefully trim this down about 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. Just a straight trim across here. Save this for later for like a little book. So this is what I'm left with. Now, tamp my book down and I'm going to fold this inside. Okay, I'm gonna try and get my plastic to be just a tiny bit above this edge here, and the same thing right here, folding it in. Sometimes this takes a little back and forth and a little finagling before I get it exactly right. And I'm gonna do that. So I'm looking at kind of paying attention to 3 folds, one in the middle, and then one on this end, and one on this end. And using those folds to line everything else up. And this sometimes takes me a minute, and that's quite all right. And sometimes I find I need to do a little refolding and mushing down. See how this one is a little too tall right here? So we'll just bend it down a little bit more. When I think I have it right, then I can come in and double check this inside crease, because I don't want it to be like way above like that. You want it to be just barely above, just above enough so that when I tape this, the tape won't touch the book. It'll just touch this part. So I'm gonna go ahead and crease this. You could lay it down and use your bone folder again. Get a nice crease in there. And again, I'm just gonna tape up that. So the tape is only touching the plastic. There's just a little bit of an edge of plastic above the book. In this one, I've got a little too much plastic on the back side, so I'm gonna fix that to get that to line up better. Literally just kind of rolling the plastic down, closing it to make sure the cover fits, and then I'm gonna mush that seam together. and taping the top. Okay, and there you go. My book is now covered in plastic. You can see how it's shiny. You can definitely see a little bit of that clear edge at the top and a little bit, where is it, at the bottom? But it's hard to see the edge. This stuff is pretty clear. It is going to, this also gives me some pockets that I could, like, you know, if this were a piece of paper, I could stick something in and it could hang out. I wouldn't want anything this lumpy. And you can stick it in the back too if you wanted. This will be water resistant, so when I spill my paint water later this month, which I can almost guarantee you I will, I'll want to pull the book out of the plastic, wipe everything down, but it should keep the book from getting ruined. I spill my paint water pretty often. I also live in Seattle, so in the spring and fall and winter when it's very moist out, this kind of helps protect some of these covers that tend to be a little more sensitive to the weather and the moisture outside. So happy painting. I hope you enjoy making your cover and you get some lovely artwork done.